Hello, and today we are discussing menopause, and specifically the place retreats Embrace Your Second Spring Radiant Menopause. 7 days at my luxury retreat in Bali, running in August and November. Each a small group of 8 women with various daily group sessions, which we'll look at later, and also one-to-one therapy. We're going to find out what's on offer and why. We'll also get some insight into how women can explore this stage of life at home alongside some small but powerful practices listeners can begin today. Hello, ladies.
Hello.
Good morning.
Can we start with, can you just introduce us to the members of your team who are joining us today, and perhaps they can explain their roles?
Absolutely. On my left is Elisa. She is our master Qigong teacher. She practices medical Qigong, and she is very well known in the community here in order to be able to help people at a very deep level in all kinds of healing, whether that is body, mind, and spirit. And on my right, we have the wonderful Monica, who is a master breath worker. She is also very well known. She's excellent at what she does. She has amazing results in unlocking people's deepest fears and deepest blockages in their psyche and in their minds. And she's absolutely a master of how she helps people free themselves from traumas of their past.
Okay, thank you.
Lovely.
Well, welcome
Thank
both of you. And we'll get perhaps a bit deeper into, finding out about what you do a bit later on. JC,
Monica is in charge of the menopause retreat as such that she has this sort of umbrella vision. And
Right.
Monica has written an amazing book on Breathe Through Menopause.
Yes,
As we talked about in a previous podcast.
we did.
And I think it's important that although I'm the founder of the Place Retreats, there's a group of wonderful practitioners and therapists that are here at the Place Retreats that are taking center stage for this particular Radiant Menopause retreat. And the reason the ladies came up with this is that for many of them have been through menopause, are going through menopause, and they have such a vast wealth of knowledge, and this being a particular subject that very many ladies or women do not know whom to talk to, where to talk to, especially since it's so ignored, even in the medical profession, that it's something that you just have to put up with and you have to get through it, And so when they were suggesting to us here at the retreat that we might do a menopause retreat, I was absolutely fascinated by the wealth of knowledge in this group of women that, either through personal experience or about to experience it or going through it, and their professional knowledge, the combination of that was absolutely staggering, the amount of knowledge and how helpful it could be. And that's why we decided to, create something absolutely unique. I mean, we looked at the markets and what is available, and there is nothing like it in order to help women understand better and honoring their own bodies and minds through hopefully participating in this retreat.
I was just wondering if Monica and Elisa, you had found when you are with your clients in the retreat that menopause is something that comes up, well, obviously with your female clients. Is that something that perhaps was a recurring theme?
Of course, it comes up with people of that age group, for sure. It's noticeable, and they're struggling with it. Lots of them struggle.
Yeah, and it expresses itself in different ways. Sometimes it's psychological because they cannot hold the stress, or they are so in the pattern of overworking or something like that. Then I could advise them, or we can advise them to slow it down because the body cannot really hold that. So sometimes it's not that.
And I'm thinking about I'm thinking about our listenership, although I don't know the exact statistical analytics, but you're in that generation where you maybe have parents that are still alive, and you've obviously got your children growing up, and you're really in that kind of sandwich generation, but you've also got this extra layer of this perfectly natural thing that's happening, but can be so overwhelming.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's for everybody, it's overwhelming when you're going through it in the beginning. And most of them try to hide it. They try to sort of manage through it until they realize that they're not able to. And then they start to feel really depressed and really out of sorts. And then when they start to seek advice, mostly it's either dismissed or it's addressed like, oh, just take some, some hormonal treatment, or, you get advice that is not very supportive. And it's also not really applicable into relating back to yourself as in what's happening. So I think that's the biggest issue, to really realize your body is not against you. You're not deteriorating. It's actually something is happening that is calling for your attention.
It's a transitioning of some sort, physically, also mentally.
Yeah.
And I guess there is that generational thing. I know that my maternal grandmother, is kind of like, well, you have to get on with it. We all have to get on with it. And there is a bit of kind of, I don't know if it's like a martyrdom of kind of like, I guess there were, I don't know, maybe there were menopausal retreats, but more in like we all lived on the same street in the same village kind of way. I don't know. Like,
I'm not sure if it was addressed in the same way as it is addressed now, or it's starting to be addressed now.
I have a question for you ladies, because I'm the male here amongst you, and there's a vast...
Yeah, you haven't gone through the menopause, have you, JC?
I went through the andropause.
Okay.
Which is the equivalent.
Is that an actual thing?
It is actually. Yeah.
It is a thing, Amy. Don't laugh.
Oh, sorry. I thought that was one of your jokes, JC.
No,
sorry, I interrupted you.
No, not at all. I just was wondering, when puberty, when girls reach puberty and they start having their first period, there's also a lot of non-talking about it and letting it happen, and no explanation, or this is just what happens, and we have to get on with it, and we have to suffer it, and this is our monthly curse, and all of this. And I wonder if menopause is actually the same thing in reverse. And so for many young girls, it was a traumatic event already when they came on having periods, and then it becomes a traumatic event again, or when they stop having periods, and the whole cycle of creation, is, sorry to say this, a bit screwed up, that, when it starts, nobody knows what to say or what to do or how to be supportive. And when it ends, it's exactly the same thing. So you start
but that's
already
a cultural
with the trauma.
thing, isn't it?
I think it's a cultural thing as well.
Yeah, because actually, certainly, like, the thing that I think is, starting your periods and then going through the menopause, is that I notice is that actually there's a lot of sort of shame. It's all considered a bit unpleasant, and there are things that you have to hide, like having a period or having hot flushes, or and it's all like, oh, okay, well, like, hide that away because men don't want to see it, and that's what it comes down to, because women are fine with it, but I think it's like considered unattractive culturally, and so then we're burying it away, aren't we?
There's a deeper aspect to it, though, because a hot flash and a shame have the same, or have very similar sensations to them. They're getting red, so it connects back to that stuffed down emotion that was never expressed or never really dealt with or never come to peace with. And so then it becomes even stronger. And so the hot flashes become an incredible event that, need to be hidden and managed. And so it becomes worse and worse and worse. And then the stress comes on top of it and it just accelerates.
I have to say, as a man listening to all of this, I cannot help but anything else and think, oh my God, this is quite stressful and anxiety-provoking for women. As men, what are we doing? What would we do?
Yeah. But I was just going to say that when I'm sat at home, I quite often get hot flushes in the evening, and when I'm just sat at home with Paul watching TV, they pass quite sort of quickly. It's not much of a problem. when I'm teaching like my antenatal classes, which are also in the evening, what I've noticed is that I'll be having a hot flush and I'll be like, oh, people are going to notice I'm having a hot flush. And then what happens is my glasses steam up. That doesn't happen when I'm at home. I think it just gets even worse and I get even hotter and even redder because exactly what you were saying, Monica, that it's that shamefulness it's a very similar to as all through my life, anytime I felt ashamed or embarrassed, I go bright red. I'm a really florid person anyway. But yeah. So that's interesting. Sorry, I've rambled on a bit.
Not at all. You're sharing actually your personal experience of what's happening, and I think for many women it might actually be helpful of hearing somebody being very honest about it, because I think that very often it's sort of suffered in silence.
Yeah.
And that needs to stop.
And Elisa, you were agreeing that it's a cultural thing, isn't it? That as women, we've been.
I think some, like when I speak with Indonesian women, they don't always know that they're going through menopause, for example. They don't exactly recognize it. Or maybe some tribe in Africa or something, maybe it's not even recognized as menopause, while maybe in other cultures they celebrate this first menstruation, or when a woman goes into the next phase of being the elderly, so she has a different position within the tribe or something like that. But we are very much about, I'm not sure about, the symptoms, and it's a bit of an illness or something like that. But yeah, I think it has a cultural aspect to it.
Yeah.
Indonesian women, I don't really hear them about menopause.
Also, they have much more respect towards their elders.
And plus they have respect towards elder women.
Right.
They still have a position. They still have a purpose in the community, in the society.
Yeah.
And I think, especially in my culture in the Netherlands, they're kind of like shoved to the side, and that's it. You're old.
And I think that's what is so important, to really bring that to attention, so that the women become the wise women again, the leaders of the tribe, that hold the wisdom for the tribe. That is really important.
And I'm going through my menopause right now. I'm almost 55, and I think I'm towards the end of it. But I love having, young people. What?
Fingers crossed that it is.
That's true.
Yeah, we're all suffering.
No, I love my hot flushes anyway, right? But I just did a 3-week Qigong retreat, and we were doing a lot of Qigong and detoxing. And then suddenly, after 9 months, I started bleeding again, and it just felt so good. To have that detox. So
that's how healing our practice is.
So that's why I'm growing younger. You see?
Can I just ask what it's Qigong? Can you just explain for people that haven't heard of it what it is?
It's an ancient Chinese practice. So there is several aspects of Chinese medicine. One is herb, the other one is acupuncture, the other one is Qigong. So there is a lot of conditions that for sure allopathic, but other medicine doesn't, really, they're a bit ambiguous, or how do you call it? And so the Qigong practice can cure a lot of things, and it's particularly very good for menopause.
Yeah.
and they're working.
It's a motion. It's some kind of motion where you bring, how to say it? You don't use your muscles or your joints. You cultivate some kind of energy. So that this energy, typically we call it a water energy, that then balances your fire, because we have too much fire when we age as well. So
is it a movement practice?
Yeah, it's a movement. It's some kind of like a martial art type movement. Yes, without using the muscles or the joints. So it's actually very good, because when we age, the bones, the muscles, they get a little bit
weak,
old. Old. So
it's good for those muscles and bones.
There is enough energy available in the body, some kind of reservoir energy that you can cultivate with Qigong practice. So
thank you.
I felt inspired at my early 40s to start practicing, because I knew that the aging was coming up for me and for everyone, I guess. But so that really helped. It supports me a lot.
What do you wish women knew or believed about this stage of life?
So one thing that I find is really remarkable is that the brain is rewiring. So our whole energy system is rewiring. Our whole neuroplasticity is changing to really accommodate the next stage of life. So that
Is
means
it?
it's the
Wow.
most incredible, yes, it's the most incredible time for change, for transformation. So when you apply it now, it's really impactful and it creates the baseline for the rest of your life. So now is really the time to do it.
But then it depends how you
To
go
do
through the
what?
transition, no?
To really look after yourself, to listen to your body, to see what needs to be adjusted, to see where the imbalances are, because all symptoms that are showing up during menopause, these are symptoms of imbalance.
And they're temporary.
Yes.
Within the transition, they're just temporary. Even the memory loss is temporary, correct?
Yeah, a lot of things that show up is because the brain is working really hard to accommodate everything. And since it's shifting and changing, the hypothalamus monitors the temperature of the body, the hormones, all the output of all the chemistry. So it's kind of like on overdrive, right? So it's becoming super sensitive to the slightest changes, and that's what we're feeling. But we can really address it by helping ourselves create more time for ourselves, more space, more introspection of what needs to be adjusted, perhaps even introducing different type of food, that helps us to transition through this phase. So this is what
really
we're bringing together in this retreat, to really educate women, to show them different practices, to see, let them try out different modalities to see what actually works for them, reconnect to their body, really start to notice, wow, my body is actually an ally. It's not against me. It's not deteriorating. I'm actually feeling what I need. And then they start to navigate guided by the body.
That's very helpful.
It really is, and it kind of reminds me of some stuff that I was reading and seeing a few years ago, maybe about a year ago, when menopause kind of became like quite newsworthy. Do you remember that, Louise? When people like Davina
McCall. Yeah.
McCall, and I guess you see, when our celebrities and when our cultural figures get to this stage, they're kind of like, oh, well, we all need to talk about this because this is happening to me, kind of thing. And there was a whole thing about, like, if you are aware, like you were saying, Monica, of exactly what is happening with you, you can then advocate for yourself in the workplace. And whereas I think, like we were saying before, you're so filled with shame that you maybe can't complete tasks or you can't meet deadlines within your workplace, that you almost get flooded and overwhelmed with stuff.
And then you get snappy, you get short with people, you start to hide, you become awkward, it's not helping.
It's about finding a new balance temporarily within the transition, I think. You can't,
and being able to communicate that clearly to within, to your colleagues, to your families and relationships, I guess, is a huge one, isn't it?
Relationships,
because otherwise how are people going to be able to support you unless they understand what is going on for you?
But how will you be able to communicate unless you understand yourself?
Yes, exactly.
So how do we get this sort of understanding? What is it we need to understand? We need to understand what's happening physically and kind of accept it and do what we can to support that. But then I'm really interested in this, like your brain is sort of, your brain's changing in the same sort of way, because that happens when when we're born. From 0 to 5, there's lots of like neural pathways being made and others disconnecting, and then there's a big kind of like pruning process, and so all of that's going on as well.
So emotionally, for example, so when you look at, the brain is rewiring, all this chemistry is, being released into the system, and you're reacting to things in a way that you've always reacted. Now is not going to be useful anymore, because if you have reactions that are there from old traumas, it's going to bring it all up. So it's a beautiful time also to release all this residue of emotional holding or denying or, not being at peace with it.
Yeah, a lifetime of resentment and holding a grudge. Now, like, we are giving you permission. Let it go.
But I guess that's where therapy comes in as well, isn't it? So
Exactly.
this is when it's really useful.
And JC, your background as a psychotherapist, how has that shaped the way you approach menopausal support in that area?
But for me, it's very important that hopefully, as this transition happens and women can go back to what are they in matriarchal societies, their power was of the wise ones, is by listening to themselves and beginning to understand what is possible for them and what they can let go of and what they can retain. Because as Monica was saying, the hypothalamus is changing and monitoring. And so the hypothalamus is responsible for our long-term memory. And so we can actually start to think of what can I keep and what can I let go of, what do I not need anymore. But in that respect, that's why these retreats are so important, because you can actually begin to explore. You're not supposed to know by yourself. You're supposed to be able to talk not only to a therapist, but also within the community that you are working with, comparing notes, experiences, things that you might have held, and that you feel that you are now ready in a group of people being able to release and to feel your way into it rather than think your way into it. And I think that is so important when you are in a community of people, 8 women, for instance, all going through or are going to go through the same thing, the learnings that you can take from each other. And, just the trying out and feeling it and sensing it and resonating with it and allowing yourself that space and allowing yourself to dare to go somewhere that perhaps, as Amy said, you've been a lifetime of resentment holding on to, but feeling safe enough emotionally and physically to be able to release and see what that feels like.
I'm thinking this would make a great series of White Lotus. 8 menopausal women.
Just the women, Oh my.
The storylines. Would there be a murder? I don't know, but I think that...
Well, I think that certain people would
definitely... facilitator,
I think that several people would have been asked to choose the plot in the garden already.
Yeah.
to happen.
That's the real reason why I learned the martial art,
Yeah.
Yeah, self-defense.
But everything that you're saying there about that sort of like, it's a resetting time and women coming together, and the result of all of that is, again, it is reminding me of when you're pregnant and you have your first baby, particularly your first baby, because that's a time of huge transition. And it's a time where women, do
together.
Naturally want to come together with other women who are going through the same thing. And that's not to belittle the support that, men, if your partner is a man, give. And I think probably would be a great time for men to come together, as new parents as well. But as women, we kind of do it naturally, I guess, because we're usually often at home looking after a baby. And it's like, I remember it being like a survival thing, really. I was like, right, I need
to get through this next hour.
I've got to get out of this house with this baby. And I want to be, and instinctively I wanted to be with other people who were finding it as overwhelming as I was, in good ways and bad ways. It was overwhelming love, but also overwhelmingly exhausting and confusing. And so it's kind of that women coming together, like you're talking about on your retreat, is it's sounding it's all a bit similar to me. Yeah,
it's very powerful when women come together, definitely.
Yeah.
And it's also,
that's why men always needed to control it.
Yes, of course. JC, you're right. Yes, yeah. I say JC, you're right. Of course, you're right. Like, you don't need me to tell you you're right. Correct, JC. Yes. He's like,
I'm a man. I'm always right.
Oops, hang on, my headphones are falling off.
So I guess your first retreat is in
I'm
August.
sure
We're recording this in
Louise, you will make
July.
sure that Paul cuts this out.
Go on, Amy.
Sorry, I was just going to say that
Yes.
You obviously must have a mixture of excitement, but also maybe there might be. It'd be really interesting to speak to you after you've done these 2 retreats in August and November, because there may be things that even you haven't anticipated, or like that you are surprised by when you do get everybody sort of on these retreats. How long is the menopause retreat? Is it 7 days? Did you say?
Correct. It's a 7-day program. And I think what is so beautiful, there's an amazing group of women that came together and that decided how they were going to structure it. And I need to say it is absolutely beautifully done. I don't know, Louise, you said that you looked at it on the website.
Yes.
And so they divided it into 7 days. And so day 1 is the arrival day, and there will be an opening circle. And then day 2 will be the Earth Day. And so that will be about traditional Chinese medicine. And Dr. Xian has worked for 11 years in the main hospital in Beijing, working in the gynecology department with the top professor of traditional Chinese medicine. So she had a training of 11 years in ladies or women's issues. So that's going to be amazing. And then personalized dietary. So how foods can support and help that moment of transition. And then day 3 will be the water day. And that will be yoga therapy and introspective development. And that has more to do with, managing and helping our minds understand and creating space and how to assimilate these changes into our psyches and making space, understanding, compassion, growth, learning during that time or during that day. And then day 4 will be the fire day. And that will be Monica's full breathing spectrum, sound healing, techniques for symptom relief. And day 5 will be the heart day. That will be compassion focused therapy, where people will learn that we have 3 spheres, one which is our drive, one which is our soothing, and one is our how we deal with attack and defense in our systems. And then day 6 is the ether day, which is core energetics and traumatic release exercises and journaling, so that we can actually learn to understand ourselves by writing down how we feel in one day, comparing it to other days. And then sometimes if we talk with other people, that we could compare notes as properly, that because we have written them down in our journals. And then the last day, which is the air day, we will do an integration of everything that we have learned during those days and do a closing ceremony. And so on top of that, there will be psychiatric consultation and personalized therapy, as in talking therapy. And that will depend for each person what their needs are. Do they need more CBT? Do they need more compassion focus? Do they need more dialectical behavior therapy, more trauma focused? Whatever it is, it will be available to people. And then, of course, as every retreat benefits enormously from daily yoga and pranayama, which is, to start the day and might also end the day. And then, which we thought was very important, the ladies thought was extremely important, is personalized nutrition, anti-inflammatory, hormone balancing meals, cooling, tailored to each individual needs. And we will actually have someone that is specialized in cooking, choosing the nutrients and food types and food ingredients for that particular cooking.
Right.
So,
and plus we have Bali, which is already very motherly energy and nurturing and supporting.
Yeah. I mean, it makes me want to go through a severe menopause right now. I was going to say I'm 47, so I'm kind of I still have regular periods, but I think I'm peri, so this is my kind of I'm seeing this definitely on my vision board.
That's perimenopause too, because it's like sometimes it's worse than menopause, symptom wise.
And the beauty of it is it will be held in a sort of complete private, serene space, 200 meters from the beach, but also 500, 700 meters from a bit more towny, so that it's not completely isolated. And so we are surrounded by, as Elisa said, by culture, nature, by spirituality, and the whole space is, really designed for restoration, for deep work, and appreciating beauty and gratitude.
And that's what menopausal women, they need to make time for that. They need to learn to make time for themselves. You can't just go from this lifestyle and then suddenly, we need to introduce them to that it's healthy and necessary. It's their medicine to make time for themselves.
Absolutely. I think those little rituals that you could learn, you could actually take those home with you, couldn't you? You couldn't possibly come on this 7-day retreat and then not be changed after that, to actually have stuff that you can bring into your own life. Yeah.
And we would like to think that here you'll be supported, to unwind, to relax, but also reconnect with your body and claim your vitality, your inner wisdom, and all supported by amazing professionals and with other women that are going through the same period of life as you are. So,
and we can offer an aftercare program. So let's say they connect with one of the practices or something, we can still keep on practicing. And then even them as a group, so they keep reconnecting and we keep teaching them the skills if they like.
So, I mean, a lot
online. Yeah, that would be online. Yes.
There's a lot of it is actually about sort of coming and getting really properly informed and understanding what works for you, why it works, what's going on, because then, because it'll be different for everybody, but then having that understanding, that knowledge in order to be able to make like really informed decisions about what's going to work for you. Because we can't, nobody can come and just stay there forever, but when you come home, you have an understanding.
But Louise, what is so important is that, from it being something that you hide and something you don't talk about and something that you have to suffer, to transform that into really honoring it as a rite of passage into a deeper understanding of yourself and becoming the wise woman of your tribe, and your tribe being your family, your community, your group of friends, and as Monica and other people have said, it's not something to fix, but it's actually making it something that to be something to treasure.
It's a
celebrated, really.
It's a natural.
Absolutely, to celebrate it. Exactly that, Louise. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it sounds
I'm just wondering. I'm wondering at this point if there is maybe like one or two things, like something you said before, Elisa. It sort of struck me as like making that time for yourself. Like, are there any sort of simple little practical tips that we could give our listeners today that almost
to help that
little like I don't know if it's rituals or even just boundaries of saying no, I'm not doing XYZ.
Yeah, I think boundaries is a good word actually for that. But typically, so the Chinese, they call it the second spring. So typically at this age, you already raised your children, you already had a good career. So naturally, there should be time already to explore more your inner world, your spirituality. So something simple like meditation, or do something for your body, like I would say qigong or yoga, or just you have to make that time.
Or a small gratitude practice.
Small gratitude practice. So I want to say something like meditation. Typically this is the time that if I get inspired by that philosophy, is to contemplate more yourself, who you are as a woman, spiritual things. But because we live in this other society, whatever, this Western culture, something more practical like meditation or yoga or gratitude practice or go to retreat. That would be a first good step. But there are millions of tools like breath work, amazing as well. But we need to get introduced to that. But if we did it right, we should have the time for it. Because the children and the career is pretty much.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's the mind that won't quieten down. If you are like somebody who is like maybe replaying old tapes of stuff, that conversations that happened in 1997 when you said that thing, and then
so we get attached to a certain way, and then so I recognized that problem very early, like in my early 40s. So I wanted to tackle that early, change my habits and change my way, so that I would age gracefully.
And you have.
Thank you.
But also it comes back to that also being that sort of wiser person. Like the other day I had a conversation about something with my daughter that I recognize that she does, that she's learnt from me, and that is like worrying too much about what other people are thinking, and we had a big conversation about it because, and I said this to her, I said, you're 30. I'd like you to recognize that you have this, and that, don't leave it until you're 55 like I have to suddenly go, and so having, that sort of confidence to feel like, okay, I've got something important to say here. And then also, I think it's also having the sort of confidence to give yourself time, Elisa, all those things that you're talking about. Because actually, quite often I will be like feeling guilty. I go to yoga a couple of times a week, and do other things, and I feel guilty about it. And then I'm like, but this is like really, really good for me. And yes, I should feel guilty if I sit down and just watch like a Netflix documentary about the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders for 6 hours. That's something to feel guilty about. But
that could be your meditation.
As much as I might just call it like me time, it's just me being as. But do you know what I mean? But yoga and all the other things that I'm doing, they're like, I should just like not feel guilty about it. So that comes back to what you were saying.
Your body really appreciates it, right? Your body really needs it.
Yeah.
There's also another thing I would like to maybe share, that actually it's okay to keep doing what you're doing and just adjust it a little bit. So when you're doing yoga and it's Ashtanga yoga, try a restorative class, or something that's a bit more
or add meditation.
Or add something that's gentler, or just really learning to be more caring for yourself, more gentle with yourself, not just power through it, come on, I got to keep it up, but really see actually what works for me, what is useful, what isn't, and actually follow your excitement, follow what's fun.
Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you. Can I just mention the previous episode we did with you, Monica, about breath work, so that people can go and look for that.
Maybe I want to add a little very dry subject here, but the menopause also, we need to contemplate the aging process, right? Because we are like 50, 55. I'm talking from a physical point at the moment, just physically, right? Then we go 65, 75. So the body does need a little bit more attention. In that case. So that's my Qigong perspective in that way.
Yeah.
Because we are aging. And so if we want to project it, when we're 75, 85, we want to be agile.
Yes.
We want to be a little bit fit.
And that is the biggest problem in the Western society, that there's so much illness because of a sedentary lifestyle.
Okay.
Right.
So we need what we call skillful motion. Something that is soft for the body, but it moves, it supports your organs. So that's my little promo for that, because we get old. The body, the mind is flexible. The mind is super flexible. It can adjust. It can be young. It can have many ideas, and that's fine. But the body has its process.
Yeah.
And so I believe it's a good time to make the changes, because anyway we're changing.
So as you say this, I'm listening very carefully to what you are saying, and I think it's like with menopause, we have to be mindful of it, we have to be respectful towards it, we have to work with it. It's the same thing with the aging process. We are afforded this luxury that we can actually learn we can do things, we can help ourselves, we can look after ourselves, we can take care of ourselves, we can promote a lifestyle that is actually going to support us, over the next 10, 20, 30 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we need
I
to
think,
support the body. So it's a good motivation for me, at least.
Yeah. No, you're so right. What you're saying, like something sustainable, and it's a habit that if you do develop it in your, late 50s, 60s, that is something that you can, and for some people, I guess they are in their 80s running marathons, but actually, if you have been sat at a desk the whole time or bending over looking after children the whole time, you need to find something that is like sustainable and realistically sustainable.
And I don't think running the marathon is an aim for us at 85. I don't
No.
think
No.
Yeah, no. But to be sort of pain-free, that would be great already.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
My practice is to do 2 or 3 times a week yoga and 2 times a week stretching.
Exactly.
Which is
Yeah.
assisted
Yes.
stretching, which is 1 hour, and it helps my body enormously sitting, because I do have a sedentary lifestyle as a professional, that I do sit a lot listening to people, but it actually helps my body being in very good nick at 65.
Yeah.
65 already? Wow.
Well, in November, but
also, the other thing that I was thinking as you guys were talking was just about how, especially for women, there is this thing of like trying to preserve youth, and all of the messages that we are given continuously about, looking younger and Botox and fillers and trying to look younger all the time. Although I do feel, I don't know if it's just my algorithm, there is almost like a backlash against that now. I don't know if are you guys finding that? It's like that uniform look of just being like snatched is just kind of
in.
Yeah.
You mean, Amy, the wind tunnel look?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wind tunnel look.
And if you go down certain, random rabbit holes on the internet, you can find that women as young as 20 are having fillers and collagen and Botox. So I'm just wondering, there is a thing of, as you were saying, menopause is, I guess, just getting your head around the fact that it's like, it's a privilege to age.
Yes.
I know that sounds like such a...
Because the alternative is death. If you're not
given to
going to go
everyone.
through
Yeah.
menopause, that's because you died too soon. So
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's also
but-
fixing from the outside is one thing, but it's not going to work for long. You need to fix from the inside.
Yeah.
Because beauty comes from the inside out. It's not working from the outside.
I mean,
in.
ladies, Monica's 60 years old,
Do you know what? I was just about to say... Listener, it is worth Googling Monica on the place retreats and go to. There is a page of each of you, the team. This woman, like, you look in your 40s, but I know
She's
that
in
is.
her 40s, isn't she?
60, yeah, I'm 60.
No, you're not.
Yes,
She's not.
I am.
No, you're not.
Yes,
I thought that was a joke.
No, I wouldn't make a joke like that.
I thought it was a joke, and I was like, "Oh no, Amy, she is in her 40s." Wow, gosh, I didn't realise. Okay, well, okay, that's an advert for breath work.
That's you're the poster girl for breath work, Monica.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope this conversation has left you feeling more seen, more supported, and hopefully inspired as you navigate the powerful chapter of your life. Menopause isn't the end. It's a deep invitation to reset, reconnect, and rise into a wiser, more vital version of yourself. We're taking a break for the summer and we'll be back in September. Until then, please take gentle care of yourself.
And as always, if this episode resonated with you, please do share it with someone who needs to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe for more honest, soul-nourishing conversations.
And you'll find a link to more information about JC's menopause retreat in the show notes alongside our podcast email address. And we would really love to hear from you. So do get in touch. And all of our Instagram details are on there too.
And may I just add that Monica very graciously has offered to put a practice on the podcast episode.
Fabulous.
Monica, can you perhaps say a little bit more about it?
It's the hot flash dimmer. So when you have a hot flash, cool down with a cooling breath. It's a pranayama practice. You can apply it wherever you are. It's simple. Takes only a few minutes, maybe 1 or 2 minutes, and you'll cool down.
Marvelous.
Well, we'll put that out as a separate episode then, yes, and one that should be bookmarked for all occasions where you feel the hot flush coming on.